Relations and functions. Let's talk about that in this video. Kaya, stay tuned! Hello grade 8 learners! For today's video, we will discuss relations and functions. At the end of this video, you will be able to verify if a given relation is a function, define and illustrate a function, determine if a given relation is a function using table of ordered pairs, graphs, and equations. So let us now discuss a relation. So what is a relation? A relation involves the association of an individual or object with another individual or another object. So let's say we have the association between the flower and the butterfly. So ano nga ba ang relation na makikita natin sa flower and butterfly? So ano ang nakukuha ng butterfly from flower at ano naman ang nakukuha ng flower from butterfly. So, tingnan natin kung ano ang relation doon. Then we have your relation with your peers or friends. How are you related to your friends? Then we have another example is the relation between husbands and wife. And we also have the relation exists between a mother and a child. So those are examples of relations. Mathematically speaking, relation is any set of one or more ordered pairs. The set of all abscissas in a relation is called the domain, and the set of all ordinates in a relation is called the range. This describes the relation exists between the values of x and the values of y. So let's have here an example. Using the elements of A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, construct the set of ordered pairs F that describes the relation. The abscissa is 1 greater than the ordinate. So, ibig sabihin, gagawa tayo ng set of ordered pairs na kung saan ang X or abscissa or domain na tinatawag natin ay mas mataas ng isa kaysa sa y o sa ordinate gamit ang mga numbers na 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have there F is equal to the first ordered pair. We have 2, 1. Then we have 3, 2. Then we have 4, 3. Then we have 5, 4. Mapapansin ninyo na yung mga domain o yung x value natin ay mas mataas ng isa kaysa doon sa y value. We also have the different representations of relations. Aside from the ordered pairs, a relation may be represented in 4 other ways. So we have table. We can show the relation in table form. It's either vertical or a horizontal table. Then, we can show it by a mapping diagram or commonly known also as the arrow diagram. Then we have the graph. And we also have the rule or the equation of the relation. Now, let's talk about mapping diagram or correspondence. This may be classified as, first, one-to-one correspondence. Ano nga ba ang one-to-one correspondence? So, this is if every element in the domain is mapped to a unique element in the range. So, let's have the example. In the diagram, this shows the members or some members of the ASEAN countries with their capital. The abscissa shows the capital and the ordinate shows the country. And as you can see, capital is mapped to a unique country. Ibig sabihin, ang bawat capital na makikita natin dyan ay meron siyang corresponding country. So, that shows one-to-one correspondence. The next is we have many-to-one correspondence. Ano naman ito? If any two or more elements of the domain are mapped to the same element in the range. So, tingnan natin ang ating diagram. On the first diagram o yung abscissa natin are the name of the students. At on the second, we have there on the ordinate, we have there the section. So, many students will be mapped to the same section. So, ibig sabihin, let's say we have Anna, Jane, and Joy belong to Sunflower. Then we have Lisa and Mary belong to Sampaguita. And that shows many-to-one correspondence. Then another is we have one-to-many correspondence. Ano naman ito? If each element in the domain is mapped to any two or more elements in the range. So tingnan natin ang relation of the teacher between the students. Okay, so we have one teacher with her students. Okay, so this shows one-to-many correspondence. Okay, so let's now represent relation in different manner. Okay, so we have using set of ordered pairs, table, arrow or mapping diagram, graph, and rule or equation. So let's have our first example. Using the elements of set A, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, construct the set of ordered pairs B that describes the relation. The abscissa is 2 greater than the ordinate. Again, the abscissa is 2 greater than the ordinate. So, we are going to list down the domain and the range, then represent it by table, arrow diagram, graph, and equation. So we have the domain, we have there 4, 6, 8, and 10. Paano nangyari yon? Kasi sabi niya doon sa domain niya, ang domain ay 2 greater than the ordinate. Kung mag-i-start tayo ng domain na 2, so, ano ang magiging range doon? Kung 2 is, abscissa is greater than 2, ang magiging ordinate doon will be 0. And wala doon sa elements na gagamitin natin, yung 0. Kaya hindi natin isasama yung 2 as our domain. Okay? So, we have there the range started from 2. Hindi naman kasama yung 10. Kasi lagi sabi niya that the domain is 2 greater than the range. Okay, so let's represent it by ordered pairs. Okay, ang domain natin kanina ay 4, 6, 8, 10 at ang range ay 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so we have now the set of ordered pairs 4, 2, 6, 4, 8, 6, 10, 8. And by table, we have, ilalagay lang natin lahat ng domain sa X values. We have 4, 6, 8, 10. And lahat ng range doon sa Y values, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. And by mapping diagram or arrow diagram. So, each number in the X element is mapped exactly to the number in the Y element. Then, by graph. So, we will just locate the points. We have 4, 2. Then, we have 6, 4. Then, we have 8, 6. And we have 10, 8. Then, connect it with a line. And that is the graph of the relation. How about the rule of the relation? Okay. since the abscissa or x is 2 greater than the ordinate. Sabi niya, mas mataas ng 2 yung x kaysa sa y. So, ang rule natin ay y is equal to x plus 2. Example number 2. Express the relation 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 10 as table, mapping diagram, graph, and rule or equation. Okay? So, let's start with the table. Ilagay lang natin sa x values lahat ng domain and sa y values lahat ng range. Then we have in mapping diagram. Okay, so 1:1 correspondence ang mapping diagram natin. Then, we have there in the graph, so we will just plot the points. After plotting the points, then connect it with a line. And then by equation or a rule. So, anong mapapansin natin sa equation natin? Sa equation is equal to, y is equal to 2x. Bakit? Kasi mapapansin natin that ang value ng y is twice the number of the value of x. Kaya ang rule or equation natin ay 2x or y is equal to 2x. And now that we know what a relation is, so let's now discuss function. So what is a function? Function is a special type of relation. It is a relation in which every element in the domain is mapped to exactly one element in the range. And a set of ordered pair is a function if no two distinct ordered pairs have equal abscissas. Ibig sabihin, there is no repetition on the x values. For example, we have to identify whether the given table is a function or not a function. So let's say we have the number of minutes and the number of liters. To identify whether it is a function or not function, tingnan natin yung ating domain. Ang domain natin ay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. As you can see, walang naulit o walang repetition sa domain or sa abscissa, meaning that this is a function. Okay, so let's try another. Function or not function? Okay, so let us see the value of x. We have -2, -2, -1, -1, 0. So we can write the domain as -2, -1, 0. Kung mapapansin ninyo, there is a repetition on the abscissas or on the x values. Kaya, this is not function. Let's try another. Function or not function? We have -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. The domain, we have -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Is there any repetition on the domain? Okay, wala. So, ibig sabihin, this is a function. You're correct. Now, what if we have the set of ordered pairs? So, we have 115, 230, 345, 460, 575, 690. List down the domain. Kung mapapansin natin, ang domain ay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And there is no repetition. Kung walang repetition sa domain o sa abscissa, meaning that this is a function. Now, identify if this is a function or not function. So we have the list of the domain. And the correct answer is a function. Correct. Next is function or not function. So the domain is 0. So it is not function. Why? Because 0 is repeated. Again, a function is a relation which every element in the domain is mapped to exactly one element in the range. So just like the given example in the diagram. So let's have example. Which of the following relations is or are functions? We have the first, second, and the third diagram. On the first diagram, it shows many-to-one relation, and there is no repetition among the x values or domain. So therefore, it is a function. On the second diagram, it shows one-to-one relation. Since there is no repetition among the domain, then it is a function. And for the third diagram, shows one-to-many relation. And 1 is mapped to positive 1 and negative 1. 4 is mapped to 2 and negative 2. There is a repetition among the domain. So therefore, it is not a function or it is a mere relation. So, in mapping or arrow diagram, anong mapapansin natin? If the relation is one-to-one o many-to-one relation, then it is a function. Kagaya ng una at pangalawang example natin kanina. And kapag ang relation ay one-to-many relation, then it is not a function. Bakit? Kasi ang value ng x ay na-map ng maraming beses sa value ng y. Now, how can we say that a given graph is a function? So let's try to draw a vertical line. The vertical line passes only once on the graph. Another vertical line. When we try to draw another vertical line, and another line which still passes the graph only once. And that is what we call the vertical line test. If a vertical line crosses the graph of a relation in more than one point, the relation cannot be a function. If no vertical line crosses the graph in more than one point, then the graph is a graph of a function. So, ibig sabihin, the graph is a graph of a function kapag once lang dumaan yung vertical line test on the graph. Let us consider the following graph. State whether each of the following graph represents a function. Let's say, on the first graph, if we are going to try to draw a vertical line, how many times does the vertical line passes the graph? Yes, it passes only once on the graph. So therefore, it is a function. How about the second graph? If we are going to draw a vertical line, the vertical line passes twice on the graph. So therefore, it is not a function. And on the third graph, if we are going to draw a vertical line, it passes only once on the graph. So therefore, it is a function. So what if we have rule or equation? So let's say we have y is equal to 2x plus 3 and y squared is equal to x. Tingnan natin. Y is equal to 2x plus 3 is a function. And y squared equals x is not a function. So anong mapapansin natin sa equation? Now, in the rule or equation, it is a function if the value of x corresponds to just one y value. Example, determine whether each rule represents a function or not. Number 1, x plus y is equal to 10. The answer is a function. That's correct. Number 2, x squared plus y is equal to 2. The answer is a function. It is correct. Then number 3, 2x squared plus y squared is equal to 8. The answer is not function. And for number 4, x plus y squared is equal to 5. The answer is not function. So anong palatandaan natin for us to say that the given equation or rule is not a function? So tingnan natin yung exponent ng variable y. Kapag naging squared ang exponent ng variable y, then it is not a function. So ibig sabihin kasi nito that for every value ng x ay meron siyang dalawang value ng y. So meaning, the domain there is repeated. Always remember that all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. And now, it's your turn. You have to try this activity on your paper or notebook. You just have to express the given relation as table, mapping diagram, graph, and equation or rule. And on the second part, determine whether each of the following represents a function or not function. And that's for today, guys. Mag-practice at magtiyaga upang lalong maging magaling. Again, this is Teacher Dali na nagsasabing, practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching!